After all the transfer saga, Marko Stamenić has officially signed for Nottingham Forest. If you revert back, I did a video on him joining Coventry City for a fee of €5 million plus 10 million of next sale. That will not happen. He's obviously going to Nottingham Forest, which was announced today, for €5.5 million. Signs a 5-year deal, and he will be headed to Olympiacos on loan. So he only played 35 matches. Marko did for Red Star Belgrade this season, 2 goals and an assist, 1 goal in the Champions League, which was obviously huge for him. Still a fairly young player, I would say. He's not young in terms of he's not 18, 19, but I believe he's 22 years old, so he's still a fairly young player. The 1 goal meant probably a lot to him. Scoring on that stage against anyone is a huge deal. And to remind people, season prior to this one, he actually played against Man City in the Champions League as well when he played for Copenhagen. So that is kind of twice in the Champions League, twice played against Manchester City. So just an interesting point there. New Zealand international, 15 appearances and 1 goal. So he's fairly new to the international scene, to the New Zealand team. 23 years old. He joined Red Star last summer on a free transfer from Copenhagen. So that was a big move for us in terms of that we had filled a position in the squad that we needed at the central midfield position, and we filled it with a young player. So for us, the move at the time was pretty big. We didn't pay anything for him. He came on a free transfer, and then now you sell him for 5.5 million. So you're making a lot of money on a player that you brought in essentially for free, right? Best suited as a CDM or a central midfielder. So as of right now, I would pin him in that central midfield role. The CDM role, he has some characteristics where he could be a vital player in a squad in that position. I just don't think that they're fully there yet, and hopefully with this transfer move to Olympiacos, he's going to get more playing time, and he's going to be able to get work on some things in the Greek league and just get better and better. But at the CDM position, I think he still has some holes. As a central midfielder, I like him there. I think as of right now, currently, that's his best position. And again, on this loan deal, I think he's going to get to work on a lot of different things. He's probably going to play a lot, which is why Nottingham Forest is sending him to Olympiacos. So it's going to be interesting to see how he develops next season. I'm going to follow that closely because he's one of the players that I really did like on this team. There's a lot of players like on this team, but I'm just going to choose to kind of follow him, which is what I do with a lot of the Red Star players once they leave or join new clubs or what have you. He's excellent at anticipating passes, great at cutting out the opposition's either counterattack or just when they're trying to string together passes in the midfield. I think he has a real nose for that. He's great at it, but I think he can still get a little bit better. So that's something that he's probably going to focus on with Olympiacos next year. Can be overly aggressive at times. 7 yellow cards this past season. I believe he had 7 the previous season with Copenhagen as well. I think that's due to like a timely issue. I don't know if he anticipates when to make the right tackle at the right time. And I know I just said that he anticipates passes really well. Completely two different things. Anticipating passes, you're anticipating where the ball's going to go. Not tackling properly, that's more of either the player that you're playing against is either too fast, you can't catch up to him, or you just completely mistime what you're doing. So that's something that I think that he needs to work on. I think it's one of the weaker parts of his game. Like any other player, he'll have games where he does that extremely well, but then you'll have other matches where you're like, that's definitely something that kind of sticks out and definitely something that he needs to work on going forward. Had plenty of easy goal scoring chances this season. He didn't take a lot of them, so definitely has to work on his finishing. In the derby, he had probably 3 chances at goal in the last 2 derbies, so easily could have scored 3 goals. The troubling thing is he didn't make the goalkeeper work at all to make a stop, and that's why I say that this is something that he needs to work on. Either shot was wide or it was right at the goalkeeper. It's not like he picked a side, goalkeeper dove and made an outstanding stop. So that's something that he definitely has to work on. Another thing that he has to work on is his short passing. So that's something that he does rather poorly. It's a weird thing to kind of not be good at, so to say, the short passes, but it's something that he really does need to work on. Um, Misses the receiver a lot on those passes, or he gets cut out by the opposition in the midfield area. Definitely something that he has to work on. So now, interesting, um, kind of tale of two tapes from him this past season. So none of the first 12 matches he played 75 plus minutes when the season started. The next 17 matches he didn't play 75 plus minutes once, and a lot of those matches he was, on the pitch for maybe 10 to 15, 20 minutes. So he fell out of favor a little bit with the first manager that we had in the season. And then once Vladan Miloric came over and took over Red Star, he's the manager that we had at the club before. Once he took over, he inserted Stamenić into the starting lineup, and he kind of regained some of his form. One thing I'll say is the last two derbies that he played, he, in my opinion, he could have been the man of the match in one of them, and he had a strong shout to be the man of the match in the second one as well. Extremely well, everything under control, no panic, no nervousness, played without a fault at all, which was great to see because, again, I pointed out the minutes that he played in the early stages of the season, and how his minutes did cut. So it's very important. And like I said, he's still a fairly young player, so that could have got into his head not playing a lot. But once he was given that time to play again, he really showed his worth, and I was thoroughly impressed. He was one of the players I was kind of worried about because he didn't play much, right? So, like in terms of his form and what he was going to provide in those derbies, I was kind of weary about. But he played exceptionally well. Like I said, one of the matches he could have been the man of the match. The other one, he had a shout for one of the better players when he was on the pitch. And like I said, the coaching change halfway throughout the season made all the difference for him. You'd probably still be a Red Star player if it wasn't for the coaching change, because I think that a lot of teams noticed him in that second half of the season. So it was a very important second half for him where, like I said, he played exceptionally well. So he still has some room to grow and to improve. I think that this loan spell was the right thing for him. I think staying at Nottingham Forest and playing against Premier League competition, I don't think he's ready for that yet. I think he's missing that that playing time, and I don't know how much he would get next season at Nottingham Forest. So him going out on loan is the right move, and um, yeah, I think that he just would have. I think the speed of the Premier League, I think the physicality of the Premier League would have been way too much for him to kind of handle, and at least he's going to go to a club now where he's going to play, a lot of minutes, hopefully, for Nottingham Forest fans, that he does play a lot of minutes, and he just plays it, and he sharpens his strengths, and his weaknesses get a little bit better as well, because I don't know if he's ever going to become, I highly doubt he's ever going to become a world-class player, but he definitely has some tools to become a very good player. And some of the things that he needs to work on, honestly, like the short passing stuff, that's stuff that he has to be able to nail down. And when he does have scoring opportunities inside the box, he has to be able to score them. And that's the bottom line. Whether you're a center back, right back, defensive mid, whatever, when you're in the box and you have a pretty good shot on goal, you have to be able to take those. And he hasn't been able to take those in the 1 year that he was with Red Star. But all the best to him going forward as he heads to Nottingham Forest and then goes to Olympiacos. So yeah, all the best to Marko Stamenić in the future. If you guys have any questions, please let me know in the comments. I'll look to see if I can answer them as best as I can for you. But good luck to Nottingham Forest and good luck to Marko Stamenić this season.